Coming up next, we'll teach you how to overcome the fear of making mistakes, and we'll walk through stage 3 on the path to meaningful work. Get connected. It starts right now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you're joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It is about your path to purpose. And we want to make sure you understand, if you're new to the program, that when we talk about your purpose, it's not all about you. Now, there's a whole lot that we will discuss, and you are the center of the story, but your purpose, your why, is about other people. Simply put, you were created to fill a unique role in your work. Now, I'm not talking about just a job here. We're talking about a role. And so if you think of your favorite movie, play, television show, book, there are characters in the story. And you have your own story, but you are part of a bigger story, right? And so what is the role that you are uniquely designed to fill? And when you fill that role, you are in your sweet spot. It just, people look at you and they go, man, she looks like she was born for this. It's just amazing. It's unbelievable. Looks and feels effortless at times, and you create maximum results. So what is that role? We'll teach you that. We'll help you figure that out. And it's a lot of fun, because when you figure out the role, by knowing what you do best, talent, what you love to do most, passion, talk about work, and the results of your work that matter deeply to you, when you figure that out, you go, oh, this is my role. If I play this role, I could do that in this career field. I could do it in this job, because I'm spending most of my day, it's not a perfect utopia we're pitching, but I spend most of my day filling this role. What is it? Is it leader? Is it caregiver? Is it creator? Is it problem solver? What is it? We're going to help you figure that out. When you do that, you have tremendous clarity and then confidence to step out and courage to stay on course. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. 844-747-2577. Madison is standing by. We've got a few open phone lines. Some have been watching the show for a long time. Some have been watching for just a day or two or a week or two. And you go, I don't know, Ken, I'm a little nervous. Well, I get it. This is a safe place for you. I promise. We're about you. And we can help you because you have the answers. It's just my job to help you see them, and then we plug them in to a plan. So you can also submit your chat questions in the chat window there next to the video you're watching right now, and we'll get to some of those a little bit later in the program. So how do you overcome the fear of mistakes? Another way of saying this is the fear of failure, because this is just something that we all struggle with. Now, some of us are better at it than others, meaning managing the fear. The fear never truly goes away. It just gets duller and if you will, dull. Some people don't feel as much anymore because they have conditioned themselves to handle the fear. And that's what I want to talk about. How do you get to that point where you overcome fear? You don't ever remove fear completely, but you can overcome it by turning the volume down, if you will. And I think there's just two simple ways to do this. I think you could teach on this. You could write a whole book on this, right? And there are books written on this. But I'm just going to simplify it. I think there's two things. Number one, you need to accept that you're going to make mistakes, accept failure, and then you need to analyze what the failure or the mistake will actually output. Meaning, if I make a mistake, and I know I'm going to, right? That's accepting it. What would happen? What would be the worst possible outcome? So let's look at accepting. Let's break this down for just a moment. Folks, there is no path to success and ultimately significance in any field, in any endeavor of life, whether that be your marriage, parenting, personal relationships, physical health, learning a sport, whatever it is, career, work, doesn't matter. There is no progress without failure. It's just the ticket to the dance. I mean, how else do you get better? Folks, we know this. I'm not saying anything around here like, duh, I never heard that before, Ken. That's brilliant. No, there's nothing brilliant about that. But sometimes we take the head knowledge of knowing that in order to get better at something and ultimately get really, really good at something and make a real difference, there are going to be failures, mistakes along the way. So we must accept that. It's just part of the deal. Get over it. You're going to mess up. But what's really important is that we look into, okay, I'm going to make some mistakes. Let's try to anticipate, not in a sense of we're obsessed or we're worried and scared. No, I'm going to make mistakes on this. So what's the worst thing that can happen? I remember in the early days of doing the show that, I'm taking a limited amount of counseling that I've done and coaching and doing it on the air in 5 to 7 minutes. And I remember being very fearful of the mistakes I'm going to make. And I had to say, you know what? I'm not going to be there. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to read something the wrong way. I'm going to misunderstand something, or I'm going to choose the wrong path with that particular caller and maybe spend too much time over here and never really help them. So I accept that that's going to happen, but I analyze that. Okay, what would happen? What's the worst that can happen? And you got to accept that. And then you got to analyze. Okay, you know what? I think I'll help them a little bit. A worst case scenario, I don't help that one person, but it gets me to a place where I can learn to do it better and help way more people. That's the analyzing. Look at it for real and then decide, is this life-threatening? And it usually isn't. It rarely is. So embrace, accept that mistakes will happen, analyze what mistakes could happen as a result of you just showing up and trying to get better, and then say, what's the worst possible scenario? Then it's not so scary. That's how you overcome the fear of making mistakes. 844-747-2577 is the number. You can submit your chat questions. We'll get to those in a little bit. But first, we go to the phones. Concord, New Hampshire is where we start. Kimberly is there. Kimberly, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much. It's an honor to talk to you.
Well, I'm thrilled to talk to you. What's going on?
So I just accepted a position about 6 months ago as a receptionist for a workers' comp company. It's a great company. It's small. I was hired at $17 an hour, and after 90 days, there was a promise of raising me to $18 an hour. 90 days came and went. About a week or a week and a half later, I brought it to my supervisor in an email, which was not the right way to go about it, and asked her if that was still going to be the case. And she called me in a few days later and said that due to the pandemic, they couldn't do it right now, but hopefully they could in the future. So I understood and moved on. It's now been 3 months since that talk, and there hasn't been a talk about that, hasn't been a mention of it at all. And there have been a couple people that have been promoted and a couple other people who have been hired on it at the company. So my question is, how do I go about asking for this raise, or if I should even ask for it?
Well, I'm not a fan of asking for a raise, and you acknowledge that email wasn't the best way to do it, so there's no need for us to park there. But what I would rather you do is get a good sense of, just because they've hired a couple people or other people, is it at the right time for you? You've been a receptionist, and there's, all work is honorable. But I will tell you that if they're hiring salespeople or things like that, it's because they're trying to generate revenue, or whatever those hires are for. And you can't compare those hires to you. You can't say, well, because they hired them, they should be able to throw a dollar raise my way. Now, I think that is common sense, but you have to understand that you are in the company. It's a good company, and you are on a ladder, okay? And so what does it look like for you to move up the ladder? Do you want to move up the ladder? And I think you've got to take perspective for just a moment and go, all right, me just asking for a raise after being there for 6 months, to be frank with you, if I was running a company, I would probably not be looking at raises for administrative staff until their first year. They did promise you 90 days. Corona is a legitimate excuse, whether or not they're using it as an excuse or not. The point is, that's a legitimate thing there. So with all that being said, I think if you want to stay there and if you want to move up, I would bring it back up in the form of, listen, I asked you about a raise because it was a part of the 90-day thing. I totally understand Corona, and I have had to do all over again. I wouldn't have emailed you about it. And I'm not here to talk about a specific raise in the form of give me a timeline. But I would love to talk big picture so that when, the Corona environment that, prohibited me getting my dollar raise after 90 days gets better, you know what? To me, I love the idea of getting the dollar raise, but I want to talk about a growth plan. And so would you be willing to work with me and go, hey, here's some things. Okay, I'm going to put her on hold. I don't know what's happening there, so I'll finish the advice. And so you want to say, and this is, by the way, advice for everybody. I don't like the idea of anybody asking for a direct raise. I want you to say, can we work on a growth plan? And it starts with this. What are some things, specific areas, if you will, that I can grow in, get better? If I do this, this, and this, I become more valuable in this receptionist role. Some training I could take. Some areas where I'm not operating at the level you want me to, but you believe I can get there. I want to know. I'm okay with that constructive criticism because I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to do a really great job, increase my responsibility, and eventually, of course, with the increased responsibility, increase my pay and put me on a path to grow here. That's the conversation I want you to revisit. And I don't care if it's next week or another month. I would read the room, try to get a pulse on where the company is. Don't necessarily compare yourself. Well, don't compare yourself to other people in those positions. Don't just feel jilted because maybe those other things have happened and you haven't gotten your raise yet. Because you said it's a good company. And so that's the perspective, and then that's the plan. Thank you for the call. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Mary, who is on the line in Miami, Florida. Mary, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi.
Hi, Mary.
How are you? Hi.
How can I help?
Hi. Okay, so I'm super driven right now to leave my very secure job. And there's two reasons. I've been reading the book, which is awesome, The Proximity Principle.
Thank you.
And the part about must-haves, I have none. There's no, the values don't align. There's no room for growth. It's a pretty toxic culture. I've been there for 6 long years. The benefits are so good. And I had a baby. So I was kind of like, enjoying that security. Mm-hmm. But I've hit a tipping point. And the other reason is that my family lives so far away. They're on the opposite coast. I still have this young child and my parents are getting old. So I'm motivated. I did the test. It's the wrong role, wrong place.
Yeah.
No surprise. And I did the career clarity sheet, and this is where you come in.
All right.
All right. So you're really good at can I just tell you my answer?
Yeah. That's why we do it.
Tell you my answers, and then you could spit out tell me who I'm supposed to be in life.
You do have to participate, but I do. This is why we do the guide, so that you've given me some answers. So yeah, walk me through it.
Yeah. Okay. So the truth of the matter is, I have talents, but I really don't have passion for 90% of my talents. So what I do know that I love to do most is write, research, photography, and sort of investigate. I'm like an investigator and organize information. So those are the things: write, research, photography, organize information. What I'm right, talented at, I am.
So yeah, tell me. Yeah, well, tell me.
Okay.
The way you started it off, you're so in your head. It's so fun. That's why I love doing this show, and I love this because you
get the shovel.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Welcome to being a human. There's nothing wrong with you, but I want to know of the things that you love to do. That's the work. Okay. Yeah. Are you talented at verbal skills? Do you have good verbal skills and writing skills?
Yes.
Okay. Are you particularly good at getting to the bottom of something from a research investigative standpoint?
Yes.
Are you naturally organized? Always been that way?
Yes.
And would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being your thumb is always in front of the lens, or 10, you take some of the most breathtaking photos the world has ever seen, where would you rank yourself?
Yeah. I feel like as a hobby, as a producer of content on my own Instagram, I'm like a 9.
Good.
But I if you take me out of that,
No.
I don't know.
No, you're good at it. Okay. So you started off by going, Ken, the problem is, this is what you said. You said, Ken, the problem is that the things I'm good at in my talent area, well, there's no connection to passion. That's what you said.
Oh, yeah. So what I was going to say was there's a bunch of other things that are my talents that I'm getting paid to do right now that I don't like, so I didn't bring those up.
Oh, good. Well, it doesn't matter.
So those are off.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Because really the reason we start with talent is the reason I teach the process the way we do, which is talent, what you do best, hard skills, soft skills, and then we go to passion, work that you just love. Forget money, forget notoriety. You just love the work, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for you, that's photography. That's just one example. My guess is you love to write. You're very creative. You love research, investigating, organizing, all of that into a thought that inspires or equips others. Do I have that right?
Yes. What I want to be known for is making people laugh, and who I want to help is the marginalized.
Okay, great. So the reason that we do talent first is because those are the tools. Think of them as just good old-fashioned yard tools or tools on a construction site, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the hammer itself is just the tool. But if you really love building something, you're going to use a hammer, right? And so what do we want? What kind of stuff do we want to build? And so you just named it. So be more specific on the marginalized. Who are those people? Like if you're helping the people, we'll get to career ideas and jobs later, but who are those marginalized people? What are they dealing with? What's put them in the margins?
Policy, the policies that are written, laws that are written.
Okay, so who are the people? Are they people that are lower income, public housing? Are they dealing with substance abuse? That's what I mean. Tell me more about the people.
Oh yeah, lower income. Yeah, okay. I would say.
Why?
Yeah, lower income.
Why are those the people you want to help? What's coming from your story? Because there's something in your story, whether you observed it, lived it, that's driving you to help those people. What is it?
Yeah, I think I've observed it. And more recently so.
Okay.
Just wanting to get in there and help change. I guess just equality for people who are being,
Okay,
I can't verbalize.
No, hold on. You know what you're doing? Everybody watching right now can hear your brain, and it's starting to overheat. You ever seen a cartoon character where the smoke comes out their ears?
Yeah.
Does that feel like what's happening to you right now?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the deal. So stop.
Yeah.
Let me guide you. Only answer what I ask you, and stop trying to make it sound good, because this is what we all do, right? You're trying to come up with the perfect answer, and I'm trying to pull clues out of you. Okay?
Yeah.
So in the Career Clarity Guide at kencoleman.com, we ask you, who are the people you want to help? What's the problem that you want to solve for them? And then what's the solution to the problem, or multiple solutions you get juiced about, knowing it's going to help solve their problem. Now you understand that. That's as simple as it gets. So what'd you write down? Like, who is it you want to help them with their income? What's the problem that you want to solve specifically?
I guess I have more to think about. Because,
yes, you do. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, honestly. I mean, if I say the marginalized, it's pretty broad.
It's very broad.
So I need to get more specific on that.
Yeah, you do. Because see, I've said many times before, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. Now, does that mean that we're all walking around going, every time somebody asks you which one? No. But the idea needs to move your soul. Okay. So let me give you something to work on. I want you to call me back. Okay, because this show is not a one and done. It's not like Mary had her shot, now she's on her own. No, I want you to call me back. Okay, because I want people to hear this. This is harder for some than others. But I think your homework has got to be back to the work you love. I think you're getting locked up on the people you want to help, the problem you want to solve, which is mission, the results of your work. But I think if you go back to the work itself, I think that's your answer. I think the answer is in This is the work I would do more than anything else. Let's take one more stab on this. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit longer with you because, it's my show. All right. Let's take one stab at this.
Okay.
Forget about who you're helping. If listen, you want to move to the West Coast to be around mom and dad. If I move you there and next Monday you start and you cannot fail, I have given you the dream job. And forget about title. Don't get locked up on me. Okay? Knowing that you love to write, you love to organize and research and investigate, and the photography, I think there's a flair there. I think there's a pattern. I think there's some clues there. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail and I gave you the money that you needed plus, and you were super thrilled? What would you be doing? Can't fail.
I mean, I think I don't like to use this word blogging because I feel like we're
thinking.
in a new
You're
world.
thinking. You're thinking. I want you to feel.
Okay. I think it would be some sort of active writing, putting out a story, putting out a story, putting out a picture, going
That's
out,
what I think.
shooting photographs.
Can I tell you what I think?
That are happening. News, journalists,
Here's what I think. I think you've gotten locked up on the path to the dream, and we just need it. It's my fault. Sometimes I go in a call and I'm trying to feel my way through it, and the reality is we needed to identify your dream, and now we're going to back into it. I think if you had the dream, you would be someone who's essentially doing what I do, which is you're a content creator, and your content, the writing, the visual aspect, is designed to equip and encourage people to change their life. I think if I'm keeping it 50,000 feet, there's not a lot of specifics there, but I think that's what you're telling me. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you're right. Yes. I mean,
the dream.
There's a lot of
No, Mary. We're not talking about what we do next week. We're talking about the dream. Is that the dream or not?
It is.
All right. So here's the deal.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal. I want you to go back and I want you to now answer the questions. Who would I write for? Who would I create content for? What would my blog, if I had the dream website that had millions of women or millions of whoever coming to my website, what would be the engagement? That's your homework assignment. When you figure out what that dream gig would be, if you could just write it out, okay? And think of somebody that you emulate, that you really admire, that's doing all the things you want to do. Come up with that description and call me back. Madison, let's get her back. And once we figure out, because you're still not there, you're not confident. See, the dream should be like, oh my gosh, Ken, this would be it. How do I get there? But see, you're not even that confident. Let's get you there, then call me back, and I'll start walking you through, and I will give you a specific action plan that will get you there. Sound good?
Yes.
Mary, listen to me. You're the reason I do the show. Don't quit on me, okay?
Okay.
You better call me back. You better call me back. I better hear from you in 2 weeks or so. All right?
Okay.
All right. Good deal. All right.
You got it.
All right. I love it. Hey, that's what it's about right there. All right? That's why we do the show. We're not gonna give up on you. We're not gonna quit on you. We'll dig as far as I can dig, and then we got to move on. But look, there's a lot of Marys out there, and it's okay. We got her further along, and now she's gonna have to do a little bit more digging and research, and then we can figure out how we get there. But we've got to get the why and the where. The why is why I'm here. Now that I figure out why, this is the role I want to play. Now, where can I do that? And then we figure out how to get to the where. 844-747-2577. Coming up, we're going to talk about Get Connected. That's stage 3 of my 7 stages to meaningful work, where you work like no one else, giving yourself away. All right, let's go to Larry in the chat room. He says, how do I recognize in an interview if the workplace I'm applying to is toxic and has toxic leadership? That's a tough one. I don't want to risk being Mr. Helpful here and be too glib. So I think that's hard, but you can maybe find some cracks in the foundation where you go, that could be a result of toxicity. So you're looking for clues again, and that is by asking questions like, who are the type of people that win here? What is the best of the culture? What is the worst of the culture? What would you change if you were the CEO? Maybe some fun questions like that. But don't do too many of those, or else it looks like you're putting them on the witness stand. So you got to walk a tightrope there. What I would tell you is the better way is to go do your research online of employee feedback websites like Glassdoor. I think there's a few more, and see if there is a overwhelming amount of evidence, not just 2 or 3 squeaky wheels who probably got canned because they're the bad part of the culture. But if we've got a lot of evidence there on social media from real people who work there, or clients or vendors that are saying bad stuff about the place, and there's a pattern, enough evidence where you go, this isn't just a disgruntled person who had a bad experience. That information is not hard to find. And I just told you where to find it. That's the better way to go. Grace writes in, I would like to get my real estate license, but my current job is not in real estate. Should I switch to a job in a real estate office to increase my proximity, or should I just stay in my current job and work on my license? If you can move from your current job to a real estate job and replace your income, meaning you make the same amount or you make more, yes. But I would not in this situation promote proximity when you'd have to take a pay cut, because I don't think it's needed. I think you can make enough connections. We're about ready to teach on Get Connected. In fact, I'll use this as an example, and we'll move right into this in just a second. But I would not go backwards financially while you're training to get your real estate license. It's not that big of a bump. You can get in proximity that will help you land in the right place as a real estate professional without working in the real estate industry. There's just too many connections. So that's what I would say. All right, so let's go to that. So stage 3 on our clear path to meaningful work is Get Connected. Just a quick review. Last 2 days, we've walked through stage 1, which is Get Clear. Stage 2 is Get Qualified, right? So those are pretty straightforward. If you're new to the program, you can go back and watch Monday show, Tuesday show. But Get Clear is just, I got to figure out who I am, what I do best, talent, what I love to do most, passion, work I love to do is what we're talking about here. And then, what are the results of my work that I would love to create? Produce these results? That's mission. So you get clear on those 3 indicators and you plug them in, and we look at that. How do they work together? It's like a purpose sentence. Just write it out. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to use what I do best, blank, blank, and blank. To do the work I love to do, blank, blank, whatever. To produce results that matter deeply to me, blank, blank, blank. That's it. That's the exercise. All right. You get to that, you've got a working purpose statement, if you will, or a purpose sentence. And now you look at that and you go, okay, what is that telling me? What is the role I want to play? And I challenge you to come up with a 1-word role, a 1-word descriptor. There's really no wrong answer, but it's like, I'm fulfilling this role. I'm playing the role of. And it really helps you see, oh. And so you look to the marketplace. You go, well, where are all the places I can fill that role? And when we fill our role, that's when we are in our sweet spot. And that's the analogy we use. Because everybody gets that, right? It's when it's just perfect. It's not perfect, but it's just wonderful contact, right? So that's Get Clear. Stage 2 is Get Qualified. So once we're clear on where we want to go and why we want to get there, we now got to get qualified. Now, qualification is more intense for others that need to do more qualification. Some just need kind of some simple knowledge and experience. And so we walk through Get Qualified. As you're in Get Qualified, meaning you're working a plan to get qualified, you are now also able to step into stage 3, which is Get Connected. Okay, so whether you're stepping into stage 3 while still in stage 2, that's fine. You kind of can walk those together. All right, if you're doing that, then you're actually making progress faster. So what is Get Connected? I think we know what it means. Get Connected is really connecting the dots so that you've got the relationships working for you. Your relationships working for you. Are they all close relationships? No. Are they relationships of relationships? Yes. So we wrote an entire book about this stage. Get Connected. Because this is the secret sauce on the path. It will position you where you need to be and propel you to where you want to be. It's the proximity principle. which says, in order to do what I want to do, I've got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. So sometimes you may not have a direct connection to a person, but you have a connection to a place. And you get in that place. For me, it was talk radio, sports talk radio. I got in a place, started meeting the right people, and it becomes a cyclical process. And so if you understand the simple formula that the right people plus the right places equals opportunity, you set yourself up for tremendous progress where others struggle to get going or get ahead. Opportunity, in my mind, is not something that we're always kicking the door down. I think that's been romanticized. Are there times we got to kick the door down? Sure, but not as much as you think. I think opportunity comes to you. Knocks on the door. We had a couple calls yesterday. I scared Madison half to death. She didn't know what was happening. She thought it was a minor earthquake. Yeah. So I believe that if you do this right, stage 3, and get connected, you won't be scanning all the time, hustling all the time to just get a chance. No. I think opportunities will find you because you are being active in the area of, I'm staying around the right people and I'm staying in the right places and I'm finding out more right places and I'm getting connected to more right people, and it just goes like this, and it just builds and builds and builds. And by the way, while get connected to stage 3, because I'm giving you the process of how you make progress, you will never stop connecting. You shouldn't. Ever. I'm in my dream job. There's tons of connections I need to be making, and I'm very intentional about it. Connections are the currency that fund your journey of purpose. Think about it. You know, we all think about money, right? If I want to go somewhere with my family, I've got to buy a ticket to fly, or, you know, if I drive at some point, I'm buying a ticket, right? And so money, currency, is what gets me access. Connections are your currency. It is connections that get you the access to the work you were created to do. All right, so let's walk through a simple 3-part formula here that get connected is going to help you do. All right. You first have to figure out, who do I connect with? Now, in the book, The Proximity Principle, we give you 5 archetypes of people. Okay. You can check it out. All right. There's 5 specific archetypes of people. I don't have time to walk through that. But the idea is this: who are the people, whether they be in your zip code or access to them through a podcast, a book, YouTube, whatever. Who are the people that are doing what you want to do? Even if they're at the top of the industry and you go, I'd never be able to have coffee with them. Great. I never had coffee with Larry King or Bob Costas, and they taught me how to do interviews by watching them. So who's doing what I want to do? These are the type of people. Now, it doesn't even have to be industry specific. Who are some successful people? I see to get around them and glean from them. Hey, who do you know that's in my industry that I need to get around? I'm simplifying it, but if you get the book, The Proximity Principle, there's 5 specific archetypes of people. And now the places. Again, what do we mean by places? I touched on this earlier. Sometimes you may not have a connection to a direct person, but somebody says, you know what? I can get you into this conference over here. I can get you into this trade school over here. And I can make a connection here to get you into this particular place, right? Whatever the place be, virtual, right? An online digital place, or brick and mortar, getting around other people that do what you want to do, right? Hey, I can connect you to these guys over here at this garage. They're the best auto body guys in the place. They fabricate better than anybody else. Oh, well, great. I'll go over there. I don't know anybody, but they're going to get me in where I can start meeting people over there and hanging out with these guys. Because I want to do eventually my own auto body fabricating work, whatever the situation is. So think people plus places. Who are the people that are winning in the space I want to be in? And where is the work happening that I can get involved with? And by getting in the arena, let's call it that, right? You know, if you want to meet somebody, you're single, what do? You go where single people are. That's the idea. Okay. So that's who to connect with and where to connect, and then how to connect. And I just want to give you just a brief rundown on how. And again, all of this is laid out in depth in my book, The Proximity Principle, which, by the way, you get all 3 formats: ebook, audio, and the hard copy at kencoleman.com for $25. Okay. So understand there's a deep dive on this, but I've given you the basics. And if you just get after it, you wouldn't even need to read the book. The book walks you through and gives you more specifics. But this is simple, folks, if you get the formula. How to connect is next. And this is simple. Please don't go around walking around like a vampire. People see that coming a mile away. They know that you're just trying to get something out of them. And because many of you people don't want to be like a vampire, it makes you fearful to make the connection. But if you do it this way, it'll take the fear away because it will always come across in a positive way. And that is this. You may not have anything to offer these people, but you can offer them value. And I think it's the best thing you can offer them. And here's what I mean. All of us sit up a little taller when somebody says, hey, can I ask you some questions? I need your advice. I want to know what you think. Oh, we love that. So you start with that. I admire you. I think you have a lot to offer me. I just need to pick your brain and I want to learn from you. I want to learn how you got where you are. I want to learn what I can do to get where you are. Some areas I need to grow, some areas that I need to invest in. See, that's a whole different ballgame. And you say that, by the way, in the ask, whether it be in person or email or handwritten or whatever. Value, you're amazing. I want to be you. I think you're awesome. I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. That's where we start. By the way, that's value to them, but it also shows hunger and humility. And you're not saying I want you to do anything for me other than give me your insight and wisdom, right? Insight's knowledge. Wisdom is, I'm going to give me some advice there. And if you lead with that, most people are going to say yes. And if you stay humble and hungry in the meeting, you write everything down and you value their time and you come prepared with questions, they're going to feel really stinking valuable. And you'll be surprised at where it leads to. And this is where it leads to connections. First, we get valuable information and wisdom. And then because you're humble and hungry and hopefully extremely thankful, right? Beforehand, in the middle, and when you leave, that's the formula. Show them value. That gives you the humility. Show them hunger, that you're sucking up everything they're throwing at you. You're a human sponge. And then show them gratitude. You do that, and people will want to connect you because they're going to go, well, that was such a great experience. I feel comfortable recommending this person to somebody else who can help them because I know how they're going to treat them. And I feel good about that. When you feel good, they're going to make somebody else feel good. And so that's how you get connected. And let me say one more time, connections are the currency for your journey of purpose. It just is. It gets you farther, faster. Not by sheer willpower. Hard work and willpower, all that stuff's important. But connections are the currency. It makes everything change. Who among us, if we didn't get an extra 10 grand dropped in our lap today, wouldn't use it to fast forward something in our life? And that's what connections do for you. They work. You have to get into a habit of doing it well and doing it consistently. So that's stage 3, get connected. And that gets you to the point where opportunities, Madison, I'm going to knock on the desk again, knock on your door, and you get a chance to start. That's stage 4. Tomorrow we'll talk about stage 4. Get started. Well, Joseph, it looks like my time is beginning to run out. But before I let you go, I want you to know, you matter. You do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.